What's up, you guys? 2KB updates back with another banger. Please like, share, subscribe. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so earlier today, I was on Bleacher Report, and I saw that they posted the rewards for this decade. So let me read it to you guys, and tell me what's reasonable and what's not reasonable. Greg Popovich, Coach of the Decade. Rockets land James Harden, Trade of the Decade. Ray Allen, Game 6 of the 2013 Finals, Best Shot of the Decade. Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Decade. 2016 NBA Finals, Best Playoff Series of the Decade. LeBron James makes the decision, Best Signing of the Decade. Game 6, 2016 Western Conference Finals, Best Game of the Decade. Golden State Warriors, Best Team of the Decade. LeBron James, MVP of the decade. So I'm going to read them all again, and I'm going to tell you what's reasonable or not. Okay. Greg Popovich, Coach of the Decade. 100% agree with that. Greg Popovich was a legendary coach. He brought the Spurs to the playoffs every single season this decade. And in the beginning of the decade, when the Spurs were actually good, he brought them championships. Greg Popovich brought terrible Spurs teams. I mean terrible, garbage, doo-doo Spurs teams to the playoffs. That's saying something on how good he was as a coach. 100% agree. No one else besides Erik Spoelstra of the Miami Heat rival him. Rockets land James Harden, Trade of the Decade. 100% agree with that. James Harden, at the time before, was not that legendary. But now, like right after he got traded to the Rockets, he was legendary. He's an MVP. He's going to bring the Rockets to such great heights in the foreseeable future. The Rockets made an excellent choice trading for James Harden when he was just a six-man on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder got absolutely robbed. They lost. That was the biggest L of the decade. The Oklahoma City Thunder trading away James Harden. So 100% agree with the Rockets landing James Harden as the trade of the decade. Ray Allen, Game 6 of the 2013 Finals, Best Shot of the Decade. 100% agree with that. I'm just going to say this to you guys. If Ray Allen didn't hit that shot when they're trailing by 3, then this LeBron James will not be in the conversation as a GOAT because he had some very bad plays in this game. He did not have a good game whatsoever towards the end, and he would have 2 championships, not 3. Chris Bosh and Ray Allen, that rebound pass and him shooting in the corner was absolutely legendary. His momentum from that shot fueled the Heat to win the game and the championship because it's like, if he hits that shot, we need to play better. 100% agree with that. Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Decade. That's terrible. He's not the Defensive Player of the Decade. He wasn't good defensively early in this decade, and he's terrible at the end of this decade. Have you guys seen that man play defense? There are games where he just doesn't play defense, doesn't rebound, doesn't assist, doesn't point, doesn't do anything. This is a liability on the court, and it just begs the Warriors to wonder, why is he even here if he's not doing the one thing he was supposed to do with all the stars around him? He's asked this, no. Bleacher Report, why? Or no, NBA, why? Who I think is a Defensive Player of the Decade is Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. Those two were the best defensive players of this decade. They were clamp people. Their main thing when they were drafted was defense. 2010s all the way to right now. They're some of the best defensive players I've ever seen, and now they're on the same team. 100% agree with that. Actually, no. I 100% disagree with Draymond Green being the Defensive Player of the Decade. 2016 NBA Finals, Best Playoff Series of the Decade. I agree with that. The Cavs are down 3-1 in an NBA Finals game. and they came back. The Warriors were 73-9 this season. Just want to let you guys know that. This is just legendary for LeBron James. And it was the Cavs' first championship. It was the first time they've ever won something, except 100 years earlier when I believe they won the World Series. But anyways, the Cavs, they've had disappointments. They've lost to MJ many times. This 2016 was looking like a disappointment for them until LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, as well as Kevin Love, put the entire Cavs team on their shoulders, and they brutally battered their way to win that series. And according with the shot that Kyrie Irving hit to secure the game. And a Curry miss. 100% worth it. 100% agree. LeBron James makes the decision signing of the decade. Obviously, that's going to be the best signing of the decade. If LeBron didn't sign to the Heat, what do you think the Heat would have done? They wouldn't be as good as they are today. LeBron James carried the Heat to lengths they've never seen since 2006, with them winning championship with Shaq. And LeBron James was a different demon that those 2 seasons he was with the Heat when he won the championship. 100% agree, but the rival I see is Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, but that was later this decade, not earlier. Game 6, 2016 Western Conference Finals, was the best game in the decade. I agree. Warriors were down 3-2. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, absolutely lit it up. They shot so many threes. The game was close the entire time. The Warriors ended up prevailing, and they won. And then they brought it to a Game 7 where they also won. They also came back 3-1, and there's so much pressure on them losing against Thunder because they were home court. They had all the momentum, but Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, they just unleashed themselves. 100% agree with that. Golden State Warriors best team of the decade. I 100% agree with that. However, there was bigger rivals in the Golden State Warriors, like the 2012-2013 Heat, the Spurs. I agree with it, but very slightly, because I realize that the Warriors have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, I don't count Draymond Green, and Kevin Looney, I believe, playing center. 100% agree with that, but I'm having doubts. My mind is starting to change because the 2012-2013 Heat were just absolutely legendary. So I don't know. I agree with it, but not really. And last but not least, LeBron James, MVP of the decade. If you don't think LeBron James is the MVP of the decade, you've been living under a hole in your bed. He is the best player of all time. You know what he did this decade? He won 3 championships. He's brought the Cavs to victory. He brought the Heat to victory. He's done so much great stuff that I believe LeBron James, there's no doubt, no question, no one else arguing, best MVP of the decade. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe.